Hello, friends. I'm a doctor with over 40 years of experience, and to this day, I still remember Mrs. Johnson, the very first patient who made me seriously reflect on where longevity truly begins. She came into my clinic one winter morning, her skin dry and cracked, her steps slow, her breathing slightly labored. I asked, "Have you been sleeping well lately?" She chuckled and replied, "At my age, just waking up in the morning and still being alive is a blessing." I've heard that line hundreds of times, but what stayed with me wasn't the words themselves, it was how she said it, as if she had fully accepted that her health could only decline from here. And you know what? That mindset, more than any illness, is what shortens life the fastest. Have you noticed yourself moving more slowly these days? Ever found something as simple as tying your shoelaces becoming a bit of a challenge? After 70, these changes come quietly, gently, but they speak volumes about your future health. Today, I want to share with you 6 small but very important signs that can tell us how long we might live after the age of 70. These aren't old wives' tales or vague experiences passed down. They're simple, science-based indicators that are surprisingly reliable. Let's begin our journey by looking at the first sign. And who knows, you might just start to feel a little younger each day. The first sign is your walking speed. Have you noticed yourself walking slower than you used to? Have you ever been crossing the street when the light started flashing too soon, making you rush the last few steps, out of breath by the time you reached the other side? If so, don't just brush it off as normal aging. As someone who has worked with older adults for over 4 decades, I can tell you this. Your walking speed isn't just how fast you move. It's how your body is telling you about its overall condition. I remember a patient named George, 76 years old. Every time he came in, he'd show up early, walking steadily and calmly into the room. I once asked him, "Why not just stay home and rest? It's freezing out there." He smiled and replied in a firm, deep voice, "I don't want my legs to forget how to walk, Doc." Simple as it sounds, George understood something many of us forget. If you don't use it, you lose it. And that's especially true for your legs. Walking speed reflects a lot. It's a mix of heart rate, lung function, nervous system activity, even brain health. Someone who walks briskly and steadily often has a healthy cardiovascular and nervous system. On the other hand, if you find yourself slowing down, feeling unsteady, or needing to stop mid-walk, it could be a sign of weakening from the inside. Quiet, but worth paying attention to. I once treated a lady named Rosa, 82 years old. At her first visit, she said, "Lately I've been walking slower, probably just age catching up with me." But when we looked closer, we found muscle loss, low blood pressure, and even early signs of inner ear imbalance. After a few months of simple exercises, just walking the hallway, lifting her legs in place each morning, she improved noticeably. The last time I saw her, she was excited to tell me she had started walking 2 laps around the park near her home every evening. So if you're thinking, "I'm just old, slowing down is natural," let me be honest, not exactly. Slowing down may be common, but letting it get worse every day without doing anything about it, that's what's dangerous. The good news? You don't need to do anything big to turn it around. Start small. Each day after breakfast or lunch, try walking slowly for 5 to 10 minutes. If it's too cold outside, you can simply walk around your home. Even walking in place or sitting in a chair and lifting your legs one at a time can help keep your legs active. So, after reading this part, I'd like you to try one small thing. Stand up and take a walk around your home. Notice, are you walking fast or slow? Steady or wobbly? From there, let's begin slowing down the aging clock, not by magic, but with your own 2 feet. The second sign is your ability to maintain balance. Have you ever tried standing on one leg? Just for 10 seconds? No walking, No extra movement. Simply lift one foot off the ground and stand still. Sounds easy, right? But you might be surprised to know how many people over 70 can't do it. And I don't say this to alarm you, but to help you understand. Balance isn't just about posture. It's a powerful sign of where your health may be heading. I once saw a patient named Nancy, 73 years old, who came in complaining of dizziness when turning around. When I asked her to try standing on one leg, she barely made it to 3 seconds before wobbling and grabbing my arm for support. She gave a shy laugh, as if embarrassed to be clumsier than others. But in truth, this is very common and very important. Losing balance doesn't just make you prone to falls. It can also signal early decline in your nervous system, your vestibular system, and even your brain. A minor fall can lead to a fracture. A serious one can land you in the hospital for weeks, or worse. It might mean you never stand up on your own again. What's heartbreaking is that most of these falls could have been prevented just by doing a few simple exercises every day. I always tell my patients, balance is like riding a bicycle. If you don't keep practicing, you lose it quickly. But if you stay consistent, even just a few minutes a day, you can regain your stability and confidence in every step you take. You don't need a gym, just a quiet corner in your home, a sturdy chair to hold on to if needed, and a bit of patience. Try standing on one foot while brushing your teeth. Hold for 5 seconds at first, then gradually increase. Or walk heel to toe along a straight line on your floor, like walking a pretend tightrope. And if you enjoy something more graceful, Tai Chi is a wonderful option. It improves balance while calming the mind. If you're sitting right now, try this. Stand up and gently lift one foot off the ground. Are you swaying a bit? That's okay. That's not failure, it's the beginning, because it's only when we recognize what's getting weaker that we can begin to make it stronger again. The third sign is the quality of your sleep. I often start my morning appointments with a question that seems simple. Did you sleep well last night? The answers I get are often soft head shakes, tired smiles, and sometimes a long sigh that lasts through most of the visit. Sleep, something that seems so natural, becomes a quiet struggle for so many people after 70. Sleep is vital at any age. While you're sleeping, your body isn't just resting aimlessly. Quite the opposite. This is when it goes into repair mode. Your heart slows down to conserve energy. Your brain processes memories and clears out toxins. Your immune system creates protective cells. If you're not getting enough rest, or your sleep isn't deep, these processes get interrupted. And what does that lead to? Fatigue, low mood, poor memory, and a body more vulnerable to illness. Some people ask me, "Doctor, I'm in bed all night. Doesn't that count as sleep?" The answer is, not necessarily. Just lying in bed isn't enough. Good sleep means your body and brain go through deep and dream cycles without too many interruptions. If you wake up often, dream so vividly that it exhausts you, or still feel drained in the morning, that sleep wasn't truly restful. The good news is that sleep can be improved. And you don't need to start with pills. Instead, begin by creating a better sleep environment. A quiet room, soft lighting, cool temperature. Avoid screens before bed. No phones, no TV. Try to sleep and wake at the same time every day, even on weekends. And if you can, do a few deep breathing exercises or listen to soft music before bed, as a gentle way to ease into rest. I once helped a patient named Helen, 78 years old, sleep better without a single pill. By changing her evening routine, adding light meditation, and taking a 15-minute walk after dinner, she started sleeping through the night. When she came back 2 months later, she looked more energetic and confident. "Doctor, I slept 6 hours straight without waking up." She smiled, eyes sparkling. "It felt like I got a few years younger." Tonight, Try going to bed 15 minutes earlier. Turn off the lights a little sooner. Put your phone away. Take a few deep breaths before closing your eyes. Your body will thank you. And night after night, you'll find yourself feeling clearer, stronger, and more refreshed with each new morning. The fourth sign can be measured by the strength of your grip. Just the other day, I saw a patient, Mr. Walter, 79 years old. When I reached out my hand to greet him, his handshake was very light. Not the kind of polite lightness, but a weak, loose grasp, as if he was afraid to hurt his own hand. I gently asked, "Do you still open jam jars on your own these days?" He smiled wistfully and said, "I have to ask my kids to help, Doc. My hands are as weak as a child's now." You might not think much of grip strength. It seems like such a small detail. But in fact, it's one of the most powerful indicators of your overall health and longevity. Major studies from around the world have shown that people with weaker grip strength have a higher risk of early death, are more prone to falling, and recover more slowly from illness. Why is that? Because your hands are more than just your hands. When you can give a firm handshake, it shows that your muscles are still strong, your nervous system still responsive, and your brain is still managing complex movements well. A weak hand often comes hand in hand with a quiet, subtle decline throughout the body. I've seen hundreds of patients who assumed weak hands are just part of getting old, but the truth is, you shouldn't ignore it. When your hands no longer have the strength to open a bottle cap or carry a small bag of trash, that's your body sending you a warning. So how can you check it quickly? Just try clenching your fist as tightly as you can, hold it for 5 seconds, and then release. Does it feel solid? Do you feel shaky or tired afterward? If something as simple as opening a jar lid makes your hand ache, it might be time to start working those hands again. The fifth sign is measured through your social connections. I met Mrs. Eleanor for the first time during a community health talk for older adults. She sat in the front row, clutching an old notebook, her eyes lighting up every time I mentioned mental well-being. After the session, she came up to me and whispered, "I don't have much money, and no family nearby except my daughter in another state. But I have 3 friends at the book club. We meet every week. Maybe that's what's kept me going." On the other hand, I once treated Mrs. Barbara, same age as Eleanor, once had a family and a lively life. But when I asked if she had anyone to talk to regularly, she shook her head. "Nobody needs me anymore," she said, eyes fixed on the floor. She lived alone, rarely went out, and had long lost interest in the things that used to bring her joy. Her skin was pale, her smile barely a whisper. And I knew the heaviness she carried wasn't from illness, but from a quiet loneliness that was eating away at her day by day. The longer I do this work, the more I believe this. After 70, what keeps you alive isn't just your heartbeat or blood pressure. It's how often someone says your name. It's the number of times someone asks how you're doing, the laughter you get to share, the hand you get to hold when you're feeling unsure. Studies are clear. People with strong social ties live longer, suffer less from depression, and recover better from illness. Meanwhile, loneliness, even when living in a house full of people but feeling unseen, can increase your risk of heart disease, memory decline, and early death. I'm not saying you need to become the life of the party or make friends everywhere you go. But think about the connections you already have. A neighbor, a grandchild in another state, a church group, or an old friend you haven't called in a while. These small links, they are invisible medicine. No vitamin bottle can replace them. If you find yourself slowly drifting away from others, please don't let that silence stretch on. Start with a message, a letter, or even a gentle hello to the person walking by in the morning. Step outside each weekend, not for anything big, but just to remind yourself you're still part of this world. I once watched Mr. Arthur, who had lived quietly and alone for years, come back to life simply by joining a gardening club. He said, "I came here to plant flowers, but I ended up growing friendships." And he lived nearly 10 more years, healthier, happier. Not because the plants grew well, but because his heart warmed up again. So if you're reading these words alone today, I want you to know, you are not alone. You just need one thread of connection, no matter how small, for the light to start coming back in. Because living long isn't just about the number of years. It's about living with the presence of others. To be heard, to be remembered, to be loved. And it is never too late to start again, no matter how old you are. The sixth sign reveals itself through your appetite and eating habits. I still remember the first time I met Mrs. Susan. She was 74 then, a petite woman, neatly dressed, her silver hair tied in a tidy bun, as if she still carried some trace of the discipline from her younger years. But her eyes looked dull, her skin dry and pale, and there was a quiet heaviness about her that told me something wasn't quite right. When I asked about her diet, she sighed and said, "Lately, I'm not really hungry. A bit of porridge is enough. Cooking just feels like too much trouble when I don't feel like eating." That response wasn't new to me. In fact, I've heard it many times from older patients. But here's the thing. Losing your appetite isn't just not wanting to eat. It's often the body's quiet way of telling you that something is going off track. After 70, eating is no longer just about filling your stomach. Every meal becomes a precious opportunity to maintain muscle mass, support the immune system, heal small damage, and keep your energy steady. But when someone begins to eat less or eat poorly, skipping breakfast, eating just a few bites of plain rice with boiled vegetables, or relying on canned food, their body gradually misses out on essential nutrients. And as we age, our bodies don't store nutrients as well as they once did. Small deficiencies, if left unaddressed day after day, can quietly build into consequences we don't even notice, until it's too late. Many patients tell me, "I don't eat much because I'm not hungry." But hunger, truly, is like a flame. If you don't keep it alive regularly, it starts to fade. Not feeling hungry isn't a good thing. It could be a sign that your digestion is slowing down, your hormones are changing, or even an early sign of depression or brain-related conditions. What's sad is that many older adults begin to lose weight without even realizing it. Their bodies shrink, not from healthy habits or exercise, but from simply not eating enough. And as muscle disappears, they grow weaker, more tired, less steady on their feet, more prone to falls. This creates a dangerous cycle. Eat less, grow weaker, feel more tired, eat even less, and eventually reach a point of exhaustion without knowing how they got there. The good news is that cycle can be broken. Sometimes, all it takes is one good meal a day. I remember helping Mrs. Margaret, a close friend of Susan's, gradually regain her appetite and energy. We didn't start with anything fancy. Just a little color on her plate, lightly steamed vegetables, a piece of warm grilled salmon, a bowl of ginger broth. She didn't have to eat a lot, just small portions, more often throughout the day. And within a few weeks, she started to feel hungry again. Her skin looked healthier, her eyes brighter, and her smile. It lit up the room as if old age were just a number. Caring for your meals in later life doesn't have to be complicated. You don't need gourmet recipes or large portions. Just a few simple steps you can begin today. Try to get enough protein daily. Things like eggs, fish, beans, lean meats. Drink enough water. Dehydration can dull your appetite. Take time to really enjoy your meals. Don't rush through just to get it over with. If cooking feels exhausting, prepare meals in batches and spread them out through the week. And if you can, eat with someone. Because sometimes it's not the food that's lost its taste, it's the loneliness that's taken the flavor away. If you find yourself skipping meals, losing weight without a clear reason, or slowly losing interest in food, please don't brush it off. That might be your body ringing the first alarm bell. But believe me, if you just start with one small change, you can absolutely bring back your appetite, your energy, and even the joy that comes with every bite. Now that we've walked through 6 important signs together, your walking speed, grip strength, balance, sleep quality, appetite, and social connections, I hope one thing is clear. Longevity isn't a matter of luck. It's the result of small choices made every single day. Maybe you're a little weaker than last year. Maybe you don't feel as quick or sharp as you used to. But the fact that you're still here, reading these words, hearing your own inner voice, means you still have time to change things. So don't wait. Take a walk around your home. Give someone's hand a firm squeeze. Cook a warm, comforting meal. Call an old friend, or simply smile at yourself in the mirror. Every one of these actions, though small, is a promise to life, that you haven't stopped, and that there are still beautiful days ahead. I've walked alongside thousands of older adults in my decades as a doctor. And the lesson that stands out the most is this: when you choose to care for yourself, the world has a way of caring for you in return. Start today. Don't wait for another year, another week, or another person, because it's never too late to live longer and to live better.